You won't believe what happened on my quiet little ranch this week. So, I've got a few cows. Actually, not just any asterisk cows. These girls are worth over $100,000. They're part of a breeding program I've been working on for years, and yeah, they're pretty special. But apparently, my new neighbor, who also happens to be on the HOA board, didn't get the memo. Or maybe she just didn't care. It all started when she complained about the fence line, said it was too rustic, and didn't match the look of the neighborhood. I brushed it off, figuring it was just another one of her weird obsessions. But then one morning, I wake up to find part of my fence cut not damaged by weather or animals, cut clean through and my cows? Gone. At first, I thought maybe it just wandered off. Cows can be sneaky like that. But nope. A neighbor's security camera caught her in the act sniffing the fence like it was no big deal. I was stunned, furious, but mostly panicked, because these cows aren't just animals. They're the heart of my livelihood. And with them missing, things could go south fast. I had no idea just how bad this was about to get. So here's a little backstory. I've lived on this property for almost a decade. Quiet land, peaceful neighbors, no drama, until the HOA changed hands a few months back. That's when she moved in. Let's just call her Karen for now. From day one, she was nitpicking everything. My barn paint, my gravel driveway, even the way I parked my trailer. But I never thought she'd go this far. The new HOA rules she helped push through were strict, and honestly, made no sense for a rural area. No unsightly fencing, no livestock in visible areas. This isn't a suburban block, it's farmland. I tried to explain that to her, told her those cows weren't pets. They're registered livestock, part of a carefully managed herd. I even showed her paperwork, thinking maybe she just didn't get it. But deep down, something felt off. Like she wasn't just trying to enforce rules, she was targeting me. Then the cut fence just confirmed it. Who cuts someone's fence and lets out livestock and in the middle of calving season? That's not a careless mistake. That's sabotage. I called animal control and the sheriff's office, but things only got weirder from there. The cows were missing, but no tracks, no signs of them wandering too far. It was like they just vanished. By the time the deputies showed up, I'd already searched the property twice. I had friends and neighbors driving the back roads, checking ditches, and calling out into the woods. Still no sign of them. The strange part: no broken gates, no cow tracks leading into the pastures or fields. It was like they just disappeared into thin air. When I showed the deputy the footage from the neighbor's security cam, clear as day, there she was with bolt cutters in one hand and a smug look on her face. He raised an eyebrow, but said they'd have to investigate further before taking action. Meanwhile, Karen acted like nothing happened. She waved at me like we were best friends, watering her roses like she didn't just cause thousands of dollars in damages. It was surreal. I tried to stay calm, but every hour that passed felt heavier. These cows weren't just expensive, they were bred for a very specific program. Losing them set me back years. I started thinking, what if she didn't just let them out? What if someone took them? And not just someone random but someone who knew exactly what they were worth. That would explain the clean cut in the fence and how fast they were gone. The more I dug, the more unsettling things started to look. As the days dragged on, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Karen kept her distance, but I noticed her in her yard more often, always pretending to be busy with something, gardening, fixing her mailbox, walking her dog. It felt like she was waiting like she knew something I didn't. I had to find out what was really going on. So I started asking around. The more I spoke to people in the neighborhood, the more strange things came to light. One neighbor mentioned that Karen had been asking about the market value of livestock a few weeks before the fence was cut. Another said she'd been unusually interested in the breeding program I was working on, Even asked about the genetics of the cows like she was planning to invest. I started putting the pieces together. Could it be that Karen wasn't just trying to ruin my farm for the HOA? Was she actually involved in something bigger? I had no proof, but something didn't sit right. Meanwhile, I couldn't get any solid help from the sheriff's office. They'd questioned Karen, of course, but she was playing the part of the innocent homeowner. Too sweet, too polite. Even when I suggested she might have had a hand in cutting the fence, they just shrugged it off. It was maddening. But then a message came through late one night. It was an anonymous tip about a livestock auction happening in the next town over, and the thing that caught my eye. Someone had been offering high-value breeding cattle. I couldn't ignore it any longer. Someone knew exactly what they were doing, and I was starting to think I knew who that someone was. That tip sent a chill down my spine. It felt like a clue I couldn't ignore, but I also knew it could be a trap. Still, I couldn't just sit around while my cows, my livelihood, were out there somewhere, possibly sold off at some shady auction. I decided to follow up on it. The auction was scheduled for the weekend, and it wasn't too far from where I lived. I didn't tell anyone where I was going, didn't even let my friends know. This felt like something I needed to do on my own. If Karen was involved, I needed to catch her in the act. I arrived early, the place buzzing with buyers and sellers, the air thick with the smell of cattle and dust. I kept my head low, blending in with the crowd, my eyes scanning every face, every trailer that pulled in. But nothing felt right. The whole scene was too polished, too controlled. This wasn't just a regular cattle auction. It was something much more under the table, like a network of people who knew exactly how to move stolen livestock without drawing attention. And then I saw her, Karen. She was standing at the far end of the barn, talking to a man I didn't recognize. The way they were speaking, too familiar, too confident, it hit me like a ton of bricks. She wasn't just trying to run me out of the neighborhood. She was involved in a much bigger scheme. I had no idea what to do. Confronting her now would be reckless. But if I let this go, I'd lose everything. Every minute that passed made the stakes higher. My heart pounded in my chest as I inched closer, praying she wouldn't spot me. I needed answers. Asterisk and asterisk, I needed them fast. As I inched closer to Karen and the mysterious man, my heart raced in my chest, but just as I was about to get close enough to hear their conversation, something unexpected happened. A sudden movement caught my eye. A couple of other shady figures walking out from behind a row of trailers. My instinct told me to duck, but it was too late. One of them spotted me. I froze, trying to act casual, but the man's cold stare locked onto me. I quickly looked away, pretending to be just another bystander. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was in deeper than I thought. I needed to leave, to rethink my next move. But then, just as I turned to walk away, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out, heart in my throat, only to see an unexpected message pop up on the screen. It was from my neighbor, Asterisk, the one who'd been helping me search for the cows. Asterisk. The message was simple, but it made my blood run cold. Your cows are here. They're at the auction, but they're being kept in a separate pen. They're Asterisk, not Asterisk alone. I almost dropped the phone. This was it, the moment I'd feared. My cows were at the auction, but now I was dealing with something worse. If they weren't alone, then someone else was involved. Someone who had more power, more resources, and more control than I could ever imagine. I had to act fast. But the deeper I dug, the darker things seemed to get. The question was no longer just about my cows. It was about everything. And the longer I stayed, the more I realized I was getting dangerously close to something far bigger than I ever signed up for. I didn't waste any time. My heart pounded as I sprinted across the auction grounds toward the pen where I'd been told my cows were kept. Every step felt heavier, like I was running out of time, like something was about to go horribly wrong. The closer I got, the more the pieces started to fall into place. Karen's involvement was just the beginning. This auction wasn't just a place for livestock, it was a front for something far more sinister. When I reached the pen, my cows were there. But they weren't alone. The familiar faces of two of my prize heifers were standing alongside them, along with a few more, all tagged with fake numbers. My stomach dropped. Whoever was behind this operation had planned this, knew exactly how to make these cows disappear without a trace. But then I saw him. The man Karen had been talking to earlier, the one who'd been so friendly with her. He was standing by the pen, looking straight at me. I froze, his smile twisted into something dark. "You shouldn't have come," he said, his voice low and threatening. Before I could respond, I heard a voice behind me. "Actually, I think it's time you stopped running this little business." I turned around, and to my shock, it wasn't just the sheriff's deputies standing there. It was my neighbor the one who'd been helping me search. But he wasn't there to help anymore. He was one of them. "Yeah, you had to know it wasn't just Karen," he said with a smug look. "I've been buying up cattle for months, taking them to the auction, getting them sold off under fake names. Your cows, they were the last piece of the puzzle. Sorry, but this operation's bigger than you think." The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. The neighbor who'd been my friend, the one who'd been helping me all this time, had been the mastermind. He'd been using me to cover his tracks, making sure I never suspected he was behind the whole thing. In the blink of an eye, everything I thought I knew fell apart. My cows, my land, my entire livelihood were just pawns in a much bigger, more dangerous game. And as the deputies moved in to arrest the others, I was left standing there, realizing that the fight I thought I was winning had been over long before I even knew it had begun. It took weeks for everything to finally settle. The auction scheme unraveled quickly after the sheriff's office got involved. My neighbor, along with Karen and a few others, was arrested for running a livestock trafficking operation. The shock of betrayal was hard to shake. Someone I trusted had been manipulating me all along, using my farm as a cover for illegal activity. It felt like the rug had been pulled out from under me. But the silver lining? My cows were returned. They weren't in perfect condition, but they were alive, and after a few months of recovery, they were back to their breeding program. The damage to my business was significant, but nothing I couldn't rebuild from. I learned a lot through all of this, how quickly things can change, and how important it is to trust your instincts. I'll never forget the feeling of standing at that auction, realizing that the worst kind of betrayal doesn't always come from strangers, but from the people you least expect. As for Karen, she eventually moved out of the neighborhood. I guess karma has a way of catching up. I'm back to focusing on my herd and building my farm, but I'll never let my guard down again. Sometimes the fight isn't just against the obvious enemy, it's about finding the truth when no one else is looking.